Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Critical Podcast. My name is Jimmy Good, and I'm your host, and joining me, as always, are my go-to podcast compadres, Mr. Joe Lever.
At your service, Mr. Good.
Yes. Oh, thank you very much. And Mr. Levi Fletcher.
Hi.
He's not at my service, but that's totally fine. But thank you, everybody. Thank you guys for joining me here. It's a little bit later than we normally record, but it's okay because we're going to keep it nice and tight this week. We're going to do something we've never done before on the show here. We're going to wrap it. No, I'm just kidding. No, we're actually going to talk about one specific thing. Just one thing this time. This time only. We're talking Star Wars: A New Hope. And oh my goodness, I can't believe it. I got Joe to sit down and watch the oldest Star Wars film, which I know is jarring because I watched it myself. But I want to kind of go through it. I want to get Joe's thoughts, Levi. I want to get your thoughts. I want to talk about, the characters, everything. I have some pillars I want to go through, kind of the story, the characters, and maybe the effects/music. But Joe, I gotta know, what did you think about when you sat down to watch this, and how do you feel about it now?
My immediate thought is, whose flippin' idea was it to start with number 4?
Thank you.
It wasn't number 4 originally.
Oh, yeah, of course. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was just called Star Wars. It was just Star Wars.
Really?
Yeah, before it was called A New Hope, it was just Star Wars. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Anyway.
Yeah,
So
they started right away with, the giant space station, the Death Star, they existed. It was a thing. And, this they explain nothing about the Empire. It's just the group. And we're going to go stop them. The rebellion, they don't explain at all. They're just people trying to blow up a Death Star, period.
So some would call them terrorists,
Sure.
Yeah.
Because technically the Empire is the government, right?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And rebellion.
Okay, so but what did you think of it? I want to know what you think.
Besides the fact that, I enjoyed it to a certain extent, considering it was 1977, what they did to create certain things and all that was very well done. There was some CG in there that I thought, wow, for the time they were able to do that, huh? Wow.
No.
No.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say that's the problem too. Is that actually what you're seeing there on Disney Plus? Because is that where you watched it, Joe?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where I watched it.
You're seeing one of the kind of not recuts but re-edits of it, where George Lucas went back and put in some of that CG a while ago. So
like
that's
the Stormtroopers riding lizards and stuff?
Yes, the dewbacks and stuff. Yeah, but like the big thing, that big kind of like beast in Mos Eisley that kind of rears up and knocks a Jawa off of it. That's all. Yeah. So that was not in there originally. So
Forget the fact that the movie's already jarring if you've only seen the prequels like me, but then to like get snippets of the prequels and you're like, what?
Sure. Yeah. But anyway, Joe, continue. Some of the effects that you were saying that you liked, you enjoyed, besides the CG.
When they're trapped in the trash chute, and immediately I'm like, oh great, the walls it's a compactor too, it's going to compact them and kill them. I love how everything they're working with in there is basically painted gray foam on water. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Yep. Especially that pipe they use to like brace everything. You're like, that's not metal. Like.
I like how they start to insert a little bit of a relationship thing triangle between Han, Luke, and Princess Leia.
Yeah.
With like no setup for it at all.
Nope. They just found each other and they're all like, oh, that's a good looking person.
Princess Leia's annoying as hell. Like, just like, wow, you think a lot of yourself, bitch.
Good.
My man.
This is good. No, just keep speaking your feelings.
Yeah. Darth Vader is cool. However, and people had smacked me for this, honestly, I feel like there are certain moments where the way that who's the actor for him again, the voice actor?
James Earl Jones.
Yeah, great and all, iconic, all that great stuff. And I like Darth Vader, don't get me wrong, but there are times where he'll say a line and the way he delivers it just doesn't seem quite fitting.
Sure. Yeah. No, I totally get that.
And I forget the specific moment, but there are a couple times where the way he says stuff is kind of like, man, he's Darth Vader's so cool, but that just didn't seem quite right the way he delivered it, and kind of changed the way I felt about him for a hot second. Yeah, it's just weird. It's just like straight cut and dry to the point. Boom. Well, we got these plans. Okay, hey, we're going to attack this hole in the ship. No explanation at all. Everybody just knows where this hole is all of a sudden, and they're tracking it down. And the computer, their targeting system, knows where the hole is, even though they can't even see it.
Yeah.
And I'm coming up on the hole. Okay. And,
they've got the plans, though. That was the whole like part.
Well, yeah,
right?
you know why now after Rogue One.
well, yeah, I know that, but I don't know. It was just weird, and they just keep going down in the chute, and then Darth Vader and his boys come and shoot him down.
Yeah, they just keep
and then,
circling.
okay, let's do it again. And Darth Vader and his boys come in, shoot him down again.
They didn't think it through. I love that Vader is circling like that, and he's just continuously killing people, and they're like, "Wait, we're not ready for this. It's too funny."
So it is interesting because, like, you know, for the time it seems good and all, and I didn't expect much more than that. In fact, it was better than I expected.
Really?
Low expectations going in, but I found it like when you compare it to a film today, that whole space fighter sequence would have been just freaking flabbergasting, right? Like, you know, everywhere, everything. Not to mention, it's the Death Star. You're telling me that all they do is disperse 3 ships to take care of the X-Wings?
Yeah, that's true. Well, they had a bunch of those turret cannon things. I don't know.
You can't hit them.
Yeah.
You have to fight ship to ship, Darth Vader says, and they all, and they get in their ships, and there's only 3 of them.
Exactly.
Like, you think they would send a freaking swarm of them, right?
That's true. Well, now, later on, they show that, like, TIE fighters they've got an abundance of, but for some odd reason, that time, they're like, we don't have any more TIE fighters, guys.
Yeah, we'll only send out the 3. We only need 3 for these jokers.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I don't know. And overall, it felt slightly anticlimactic. I like how Han and Luke get medals, but Chewie's just standing there off to the side like, fuck me, right?
I've always wondered that, like, why he didn't get one. He is just kind of, I don't know if they're like, it's only for the humans or something. Like, I don't know. Chewie was there. Yeah, you make a good point. I'm not sure why that either. Did you have anything that was favorite, though? Like, was there, like, thing that you liked the most?
I'll get to it. So anyway, Luke and his whole becoming a Jedi, like Obi-Wan just like, you should learn the ways of the Force, like hands him a lightsaber point blank, like no big deal. There's no importance to it or anything, just like you should learn the ways of the Force. And how do you even know he was a Jedi to begin with, all this and that? And
he's Force sensitive, I guess. But yeah, it is scary to just hand some random person a sword that can cut through almost anything. Like, if he just kind of looks at it and just kind of starts pointing or swinging it around, you're like, whoa.
Yeah,
whoa,
he says something about I've seen power like this before, and it scared me then, and it scares me even more now, or something like that. Apparently, he recognized Luke. I don't know, maybe
Sure.
whatever.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, it's like Anakin's son.
Yeah, and did he know that?
He does know that, yes.
Obi-Wan knows that? Okay.
Yeah.
Trying to think of other things. The frickin' droids, man. R2-D2, fine. That one that talks, like, somebody frickin' melt that thing.
And he's in every single episode.
Yeah, he is, for the most part. C-3PO. You're talking about C-3PO.
Yeah.
Oh, really? They never... Did they... He ever named... Yeah, he
The sexuality bending droid.
Wait, what? What are you talking about?
Oh, he was totally a flavor. Come on now.
So you found C-3PO annoying, is what you're hearing here. Is it just because the way he talks, the way he walks?
Yeah, in his banter back and forth between R2-D2, I'm like, well, are they friends or are they not? One minute he's going to leave him to die with the Jawas and stuff, and it's like...
This insight is what I wanted so much. Thank you, Joe. Yeah.
And R2-D2 can't tell him, hey, I'm carrying the Death Star plans. We got to deliver this to the good guys.
That's true.
Yeah. And everybody's aim. Oh my God. Like, it is appalling. Like, you're shooting down a freaking small tunnel and you can't hit a giant person. 4 of them, nonetheless.
That's like a thing, though, right? Like, they're supposed to have bad aim for a reason. Didn't they explain it?
Well, that's the problem, though, is like in this movie, they show that Jawa sandcrawler, and he's like, oh, and Obi-Wan is like, you can see these are precise shots. These must be Imperial troopers. And all I'm thinking is, are you sure? Like, are you sure about that?
You'll find out later they're not so precise. They're not that great.
No, you can run into a room full of them screaming with a gun, and they still can't hit you. Like when Hans runs around the corner, he's like, ah! That part's great. I love it.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue. Joe, that's
trying to think of other things.
That's fine. I'll say Levi.
I love hearing Joe's take on just seeing things for the first time.
Yeah, that's what I wanted so badly.
I try to remain somewhat.
So you haven't seen any of the prequels? Like you haven't seen Ewan McGregor's performance at all?
I don't even know who Ewan McGregor is.
Perfect.
Oh yeah, I kind of know who he is.
Good.
Yeah.
This is better.
Is that all he's ever done?
No, he's done many other things. He's in Moulin Rouge. He was Lumiere in the Beauty and the Beast.
He's in the new Shining movie.
The Island.
Never seen it. Never seen it. Okay, that explains why I don't know.
Yep. He's great. He's very talented.
Yes.
Great singer.
I remember I looked him up. I know his face.
Beautiful face.
Oh, Long Road Home. He did like a motorcycle show.
Oh,
pretty good.
Joe, you'd love that.
Yeah, Joe, you would like that.
Sounds like I missed something I should have seen. I've seen part of the one with Darth Maul where he.
Oh, Phantom Menace, episode 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah, I don't know. They do nothing here to establish Jedi or anything about them beyond. Yeah, the little introduction of the Force, this and that, but nothing that really like lives up to like how hyped up Jedi are.
Do you like the scene where Vader starts choking that one dude out? He's like, the power of the Death Star is insignificant to that of the Force. And the guy's like, I'm sick of you, Vader, and your hokey religion and all that stuff. Vader's like, and I'm gonna start choking. He's like, shut up, buddy. Like, I love that scene. I think that part is so funny. What did you think of it?
I will say, so obviously cool. I like it. I like it more like in Rogue One where they show him walking up the ramp and the guy says, so I'm still in command?
Yeah.
And he's like, and he doesn't even move. He just stops walking. And all of a sudden the guy's like, like that's good. And I recently rewatched that little snippet from there to, I believe I fast forwarded then on to when he chops everybody up into two.
I just watched that too, Joe. Oh my gosh, that's great. Did you like the joke that he puts in there? Some people hate it. I love the Rogue One dad joke. He's like, "Don't choke on your aspirations" or whatever.
Like, no, I think it's a good line.
It's a good line.
Yeah. What age is he at this point?
Vader?
Yeah.
Vader is.
He's got to be in his 50s.
No, he was 23 at the end of Revenge of the Sith, I think.
True.
Add like 18 years to that. So
like
41. Yeah, 41. And he's like a charred body. So add that on there too.
Yeah, sure.
He's not looking great.
I just feel like sometimes the way he, because I'm kind of familiar through YouTube clips and whatnot of what Anakin was like as he was transitioning to the dark side.
Yeah.
And the way he acts in, like, say, this one doesn't necessarily line up with that, right? It doesn't seem believable that it would be the same person to me, but it's fine. That's whatever, nitpicky, and I don't know that you could do it any better regardless of when you did it.
The way they explain it away is that Darth Vader and Anakin are two different people, and like Darth Vader kills Anakin, in his heart and soul, kind of. I know it explains it away a little bit, but you're totally right. He doesn't have the same mannerisms as Anakin does, for sure.
Sure. Trying to think of other things.
Levi, if you want to jump in at any time, please do.
Oh no, this is gold.
Yeah.
I'm well versed, so.
But we need to. I want to hear it because you rewatched it again too. Because when's the last time you actually watched this thing?
Oh, it's been a couple years. I'd say I rewatched this trilogy when Battlefront came out, the new one.
The first Battlefront?
So back in, was that 2015?
Maybe. Yeah, it was a while ago.
Yeah, because I was like, I liked how it was based on the old movie, so I was like, oh, I'll watch those.
Sure. And let me ask you this. I know that this is new to Joe mostly, but for you, seeing the Jabba scene where Han is talking to him in the hangar and Jabba the Hutt's there and he looks like a weird CG monster, what did you think of that? Because this is the first time I saw it in the movie for me.
Again, it's just jarring. Like, I feel like there was a lot of liberties taken that just didn't need to be touched, and you got to preserve some things, you know?
So wait, that was added in post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the original puppet monster is the thing of nightmares.
Yeah, but Jabba's not in New Hope at all, I don't think, in the original version of it. That scene's not even in
Really?
there. Yeah, he's not even in there, I don't believe.
Oh my gosh! So I didn't really see the pure version. So it might have
Wait,
been...
wasn't he? Oh, am I thinking of Return of?
The
Oh,
Jedi,
yeah. I'm thinking of Return of the Jedi because he comes back. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. He wasn't in at all. So again, jarring because it's just like, why do you? Yeah, I didn't know he wasn't in there.
Yeah, Joe, it'll be harder for you to find like a pure version of A New Hope nowadays, but I still wanted you to just see this one because I wanted to know what you liked and what you hated as a person coming in from a newer point of view. You know?
Yeah. Trying to think of other things that I picked up on.
Well, how about things you liked? You said you're getting to it, right?
Oh, obviously, music and all that is good. I mean, there's not much more to say about it other than it's good.
Cantina.
The music, all you can say is that it's good. It's incredible.
It's John Williams, right?
It's so good. You know, when they're
Is
like,
it John Williams? Am I right?
yeah, it's John Williams. You know, like
And
the
he does
part
Harry Potter
when
and
they're
shit?
in the little, they're in the Millennium Falcon and they're each like Luke and Han are both shooting and they're playing that dun 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 dun, dun and they're like swinging around shooting at those things. Oh man, that part's how did they not get blown out of the sky though? I don't know.
See, I
I don't know either.
I don't care for Harrison Ford.
Wait, just in general or like as Han Solo?
In this trilogy, I do not care for Harrison Ford. I actually like him much more as Indiana Jones.
Okay, yeah, sure.
I've never been a big fan of him because he's always been kind of like a trying to think of a word to describe him. But he's always like snarly, and he's so snarker, you know. Like I'm trying to think of the best way to describe him. I don't like how snarly he always is. Yeah.
Joe, do you feel the same way?
No, he's definitely snarky and kind of annoying in that regard, but I think it's how
Luke
they
is
wanted him to be.
too whiny, he is too snarky, and Leia's too like, woe is me. It's just like, yeah, your planet got blown up. You'll get over it.
Haley
Like,
was saying the same thing, like Luke is such a whiner.
he's he's known for that. Yeah.
Well, he's really whiny, especially in this one too, because that like the first thing he basically says, he's like, "Oh, I was gonna go pick up some converter things at Tashi Station," and you're like, or some power converters at Tashi, and you're like, "Shut up!" Like,
Yeah.
you're like, "Just stop." And then people gave Hayden Christensen such a hard time, who plays Anakin, that he was whiny. And it's like, where do you think he learned? Like, he probably watched the original trilogy. He's like, people love Luke, and Luke changes over time. But in this first one, he is a bit whiny, and it is funny to me. He feels worse about the death of Ben Kenobi, some guy he just met, than his aunt and uncle who were burned alive. Like, he's just
which
like,
they showed. I couldn't believe it. Like they were crispy right there.
they were
on the
crispy. They were crispy. That was great, and that's original, man. Like, you know.
That actually surprised me. I remember that. That was kind of a favorite part. The other thing,
Joe's like, this is
in an odd
gratuitous.
way, it was
I like
my
it.
favorite. They were kind of like, it was like, oh, it's not as lighthearted and cheesy as I thought it'd be.
No.
His reaction, like immediately, just kind of gets angry, but he doesn't carry that through at all. Forgotten.
No,
the second he leaves, done.
He wanted to get away from his uncle, and I think his burning corpse, part of him was like, oh, cool, now I get to leave. And like the first thing, he's like, I want to go to Alderaan with you. And he's like, all right, come on. Let's get going to Alderaan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then the planet being destroyed.
Joe,
Their
you watched
reaction
Mandalorian, right?
was non-existent. Yeah.
Are you caught up to it?
Yeah.
Okay, so what is your thoughts on like the Jawas and like the comparison between seeing them like in the Mandalorian and
They're
then
more well done in that because they're more consistent. In this one, like some of them don't even have the eyes, and then some just look like a short-ish person, like they were a little too tall and inconsistent. But I wasn't gonna, crap on that because I don't know. Our Jawas, like they range in kind of little different heights, but they're all small.
I don't know. I like to not know about them. Like, I like the mystery. I never want to see their faces.
I love the mystery of the Jawas. Like, you don't know what's under that hood.
Levi, what's their little catchphrase? They say it like...
Udini!
Udini! Yeah, whatever. Joe, you're making a point about they don't react to Alderaan being blown up. Do you mean, like, Ben and Han and Luke?
And Princess Leia.
She's a little frustrated, right? But not. She should be. Like,
yeah, like she should be groveling and like collapsing to the floor. Like no.
Well, she freaks out. She has a moment. She's like.
She kind of gives up quick.
Yeah.
She realizes she can't stop it, right?
Yeah.
I think she gets way, way more tolerable once she gets out of her prison cell, and then she kind of saves the guys. Where she kind of like she's like, somebody has to save our skin, because they're just sitting there and they're like. But then like she drops the British accent. Like she has this British accent for like a little bit.
I think it's funny watching because I watched Rogue One going right into this because of that scene where it goes right into A New Hope.
Yeah,
and it's just so funny how climactic the end of Rogue One is, where they're like, "Oh, we're getting away with the plans," and then they get picked up like right away.
Yeah,
it's like watching like someone like start like a robbery and then just getting pulled over by the police like the next second.
Yeah. I still think it's kudos to them to make a freaking whole movie based on like one line of text that's in this, which is cool. I know some people don't care that Rogue One exists, but I like it because you see that they're like some rebels attacked some Imperial base and they got the plans for the Death Star, and it's like, whoa, cool. And I don't know, I enjoy that. I like that it bleeds. There's so much going on. That's prequels. They got to go right up to the edge there. Anyway, sorry, Joe. You're continuing going on with things that you liked or were okay with.
Oh yeah. There's a major lack of emotion in establishing like any sort of relationship or humanity in this thing. Like the love interest, love triangle thing. Like
sure.
All of a sudden it just popped up out of nowhere. I'm like, really? Didn't they like just meet like 5 minutes ago?
Yeah.
There are problems with that, but
she's a princess. Everybody loves it.
Yeah, sure. And they treat her a little bit like a sex symbol for a couple hot moments, and I'm just like,
oh,
okay,
just you
maybe
wait.
at the time it was like, wow, but like I'm just like, okay.
Oh, just wait.
Yeah, just you wait.
Yeah.
Well,
Trying to think.
You've kind of covered a lot of it.
Darth Vader, he just, for as ominous and amazing as he can be, like Rogue One, I felt like they did him justice.
Yes.
And I will never forget that scene where the guards are looking down the dark hallway and then his saber lights up and it's like, and it's just like, oh, that's cool. That's how every introduction should be to a guy like that, right?
Yeah.
And the way he does things in that tube, working his way through, like perfect. Like the fight scene here, they did what they could, but man, it was bad.
Yeah, and I think people have kind of said that maybe Ben or Obi-Wan was trying to get him to kill him. Like he was kind of saying, like he was like, yeah, I'm not going to win this fight, and I want to wait till Luke shows up to see this, so he can see this, and that's why he didn't. That fight is not great. You're right. This is kind of two old men bashing sticks against each other, and you can still see the dust.
And they're like this far away, and they're like, whoa.
Yep.
And I love how when he like points it at him at one point, it like gets shorter.
Oh, does
it like kind of starts to disappear.
That's great. I was going to ask you about one specific thing too.
No, hold on. And as when he kills Obi-Wan Kenobi, he looks down at the robe and he's not thinking about what's going on over here, but he like really clumsily starts like tamping the robe to make sure he's not in there.
He's got to make sure. He's confused. He's never seen somebody disappear before. I'd probably do the same thing. I'd be like, because you can't do it with the lightsaber, right?
Yeah, that was so weird.
Do you like early on, and this is a question for both of you, when Vader is holding up that rebel guy, and he's like, tell me what the plans are, and he's like choking the dude out, and he just kills him before the guy can even talk. Like he's like holding him up. He's like, you'll tell me everything I wanted. And he just kind of throws him like, God,
I want this ship scoured for every last person. I want them brought to me alive.
Yeah, I just thought that part was so funny because then he throws the guy, and the guy just this kind of dramatic fall to the ground. Like he's like, oh, I'm dead. Like
yeah.
I love that part.
It's funny.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. So did they plant a tracker in Princess Leia? Is that what they did?
Excellent question. Do you mean a
That's
planet?
what the needle, the syringe was for? And
No, that was just for interrogation. And they were trying. That whole thing was to get her to break, but she didn't break. So they don't show them drugging her on screen.
Yeah.
And that whole droid.
Just show a
with the
needle.
Force, you can control people's minds. So Obi-Wan does it to the stormtroopers. Why can't Darth Vader just like extract it from her?
That is a very good question, and it's twofold. Usually, it works on the weak-minded, and second off, you see it.
Sure.
It's more of like you can use that as a force trick, but it's usually something that's relegated to specific individuals. Like Kylo Ren can kind of do it, where you like hold someone and kind of like can like force things out of them. It's weird. Not everybody's got that power, but that's a good question though, Joe. Because you're like, yeah, why don't they just Jedi trick their way out of the whole thing? Like Obi-Wan's like, hey Darth, you don't want to fight me, and he's like, I don't want to fight you. Like, you can go. And you can take all of our ships.
Yeah, so the weak-minded thing, I guess, is a trump card there. I get that's good. It's good that they have like a safeguard in place so that doesn't get carried away, like something like Vampire Diaries, where they just freaking like stare them down and tell them.
Well, yeah, and the stormtroopers are clones, so
no, they were clones.
They were
Now they're conscripts.
Conscripts, yeah, but so they're easily swayed.
What's the difference between those? What they were?
One's bought. Like conscripts are like employed, right?
Yeah.
And
so
regular people.
Joe, you'll find out later on that the stormtroopers weren't always just a bunch of random individuals. It was actually like a force that was at one time a different army. But nowadays, the stormtroopers are more often than not just regular kind of people or aliens that are humanoid that just are. They work for the Empire. They're not like a group anymore.
You're saying they were clones at one point. Is it like actual like clones? Like they cloned?
Yeah, and if we do go back into that, you'll start to see where that came from and who they were cloned from, who the template was, because that's also an interesting aspect to it as well. But yeah, these guys are kind of like
almost bad aim from the get-go.
Yeah, I think the aim is real bad. I don't know why it's always.
I get it. I mean, if they hit their target every time,
if you want to see some really cool lightsaber action and stuff, definitely watch the prequels. Absolutely.
One day we'll get him there, dude. Yeah. I gotta have him crawl before he can walk.
I know. One of the problems is that the stormtroopers, like, they have so much potential. Like, they can be really cool.
Yeah.
And obviously, they got to look for them, and this is the first you ever see them, and they look good, but they're treated kind of as like they're just kind of a peon.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, totally.
And they accentuate that big time.
They're cannon fodder. Yeah.
Yeah, I still think the look of them in this one is better than the New Age Stormtrooper look. I love this old look. This one looks so good. I think.
Yeah, I don't get the point of their armor. It's just plastic, and you can tell.
I think it's supposed to not be plastic, but you're right. For us, we can tell that it's just plastic. Right?
Yeah,
I like the new. I like the Stormtroopers in the new one.
You like it? I always feel like it's like the emo eye makeup that like went around too far. Mm-hmm. Like it's like one whole. I don't know why you need it to do that. Personally, I don't know.
They always look cool regardless. I don't have any problems with them, but
sure.
I like some of the ones that are like a more advanced, like the chromed out ones with the cape and stuff.
Oh, you're talking about Captain Phasma.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's only one of those.
Brienne of Tarth.
Yeah, you know her from Game of Thrones, and they do almost next to nothing with her.
Oh yeah, that is her.
Yeah. Okay, so those are the things you liked and disliked for the most part. Is there anything else?
When Darth Vader's flying his TIE fighter, his is a little different, of course, because it's better.
Yes, he has the TIE Advanced.
Okay, but when they keep doing the close-up of him in there, and first of all, I don't know what he's doing, but every time it's just like really... I don't know. And then... they kept doing a close-up on his face, and like twice, and especially one time, like it was like you could see his eyes and face the whole thing through the mask.
Oh, really?
Like, I'm out. They ruined it.
What? I've never noticed that. Is that true? I can't believe that.
Yeah, watch it back. There's one point where if you look at the lens of his eye, you can see right through the tint, and you can see his actual eye.
Well, he does have still like human eyes.
I know, but I mean, I want that to be so black you can never know what's behind there.
Gotcha. Understandable.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like the Mandalorian. You don't want him to take his helmet off. It kind of ruins the whole mystique of
the thing. That's true. Okay, cool. Next thing I want to kind of ask you guys about the cantina scene. legendary scene. A lot of people talk about it. A guy loses his arm. There's blood on the ground, which doesn't make a lot of sense because we know what lightsabers can do. But back in the day, there was blood. Anything in there that stand out to you, boys? Good or bad?
Well, I mean, the music is great. Your classic pub scene, and it kind of set a tone, I think, for the Star Wars universe. That there's all these different types of aliens. It's not just humans.
Yeah. Does it feel? It feels like a medieval cantina, or I shouldn't say cantina, but like a pub.
Like a pub,
you said. So
yeah.
like that's what makes it feel so much more like fantasy to me than like science fiction, which I really enjoy. I think that's kind of cool.
I don't give a crap about Greedo. Who shot first? I don't give a rat's ass about
That's so
any of
funny.
it.
Okay, Joe, do you know what we're talking about?
Yeah, the scene where Han is, confronted by the bounty hunter.
Yes, and originally Han shoots him first, but then they edit it so Greedo shoots first and then Han shoots him because they didn't want Han to seem like a bad guy. But that's why there's
Han is a bad guy.
He's kind of
It's
a bad guy.
okay.
Yeah.
Because I saw it, Han shot. Greedo tried to shoot. He missed.
He missed. He kind of like
It's
shot
kind
the
of a
wall.
simultaneous thing. I mean, Han was clearly going to shoot the asshole.
It was like a Western, yeah. And they also added something in that no one else cares about, but I care about. So apparently George Lucas added in this line from Greedo where he says McGlucky or something right before he dies.
And they put that in Disney Plus.
And
yeah.
it's funny.
That's what?
He says McGlucky. I can't even say it. I can't. But he says a word that is indistinguishable. It's alien. It's like McGlucky. And they're doing subtitles the whole time. He says that word and there are no subtitles. So, like, we don't know what he was saying. So, like, he was probably calling him some horrible name. And then he died. It's so funny to me.
Literally added in just for Disney Plus. It's so stupid.
I love it. I said, let George just completely retool all of it.
George sounds a little bit like an idiot.
No, he's not an idiot, right? He came up with all this. He sounded like a crazy person, right? Back in the day, they're like, George, what are you doing? Like, what are you making? And he's like, trust me.
He's like, I'm making a space opera. And they're like, what the fuck is a space opera?
They're like, hey, George, what are you talking about? But Joe, I want to ask you too about this because you said, okay, so Levi, you don't care about Greedo or anything at all. That introduction to Han Solo, do you guys like that? Besides Greedo? Like, were you sitting there talking to him, and he's like, "Yeah,
it's fine." It was like through Chewbacca introduces him because Chewbacca's at the bar or whatever. It's all fine. I some of the the one guy, they start a thing with Luke like, he doesn't like you.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I don't like you either.
They're drunk, right? I don't know.
That ball. What is he, a Balchinian or whatever with the testicle chin?
From Men in Black. Yep.
Yeah, like whose idea was that one?
I don't know. They're trying to make him look weird, right? I like that Obi-Wan, instead of like, he tries to be nice. He's like, let me just buy a drink. It's fine. He's not worth it. And then the guy's like, no. And then Obi-Wan's like, fine, I'm going to cut your arm off, dude. Like,
yeah. Okay, so there's
escalates.
that. There's that. And then also Han Solo shooting the bounty hunter.
Yeah.
It's like no big deal. Like,
No.
these guys are all just like,
Yep, it's just another day.
It's a Wild West out there in space. Like, you can do whatever you want when you want. Like, hell, I could just walk down that street shooting everybody in that village and then walk away and go about my day.
Yeah. Joe's like, this sounds pretty good. I like how they don't let the droids in there, but the droids would probably be more polite than anybody else there. He's like, we don't serve your kind in here. And all I'm thinking is it because they have steps down and R2 can't make the leap? Like, he's like,
why did they make him waddle so much? He's clearly on
Which
wheels
is
for crying
funny
out
because
loud.
in the prequels he can do all sorts of things like jetpacking.
He can like
and,
fly around and stuff. Yeah, not in this. Yeah, I want to talk to you guys too about the dogfighting a little bit because we do get a little bit of that. And I know I kind of touched on it for a second where they're kind of in the the kind of the blaster seats and they're kind of spinning around and stuff and shooting them. For some reason, those TIE fighters can't hit a not moving target, or maybe moving slowly. I don't know. But I love that scene. And again, the music I think is perfect for that. And I always associate that music with the trench run, but that's not the case. So I don't know. What did you guys think? Did you enjoy that scene? Does that still look good to you? Because I think it looks all right, you know?
Yeah, it all does. It all looks fine.
I like the different accents from the different actors.
The different accents.
Yeah, like the different pilots have different accents. Like,
oh, sure. Yeah. Oh, so because you're kind of getting a mix of everybody. Which, by the way, I'm sure you guys caught on to this, but in Rogue One, they actually used some old footage from, I think, Gold Leader, who's the leader of the Y-Wings, and they kind of splice it in there, and you can kind of tell now if you go look for it, but they use like old 1977 footage and just put it into Rogue One, so that way it's like some of the same pilots. And I think Red 5 dies in that fight in Rogue One, and that's what Luke takes. He takes that position, which two things there too. He has that moment where he meets up with his buddy, which I think is also added back in, where he's like, "Oh my God, hey, is that Wedge or Biggs?" I think it's.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, but that guy, so they're pals or whatever. But also, I just think it's crazy they let this kid that no one's ever seen before, and they're like, give him an X-wing. They're like, is he a good pilot? Yeah. All right. Like,
I like how what's a Y-wing?
A Y-wing. It looks like a Y. It's they're the bombers, and
Is that what Darth Vader rides in the ship? Prepare a boarding party, and it's one of those. And TIE fighters?
That's a Carillion.
No, so okay, there's a few different things going on here. I think so. The Y-wing, that's the bomber. Joe, they kind of have like two big engines off the back.
Oh, those, yeah. Okay, I remember.
Yes,
yeah.
and the one Levi you're talking about, I think it's more of like an Imperial boarding ship.
Oh,
or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I like the different accents too, and I like how they're all talking to each other, and then there's like one guy, they're like, they're like, you gotta get out of there, and he's like, no, I can do this, and then he dies. And I like how when they die, it's always just like an explosion, and the person just kind of lurches forward,
just screaming
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole scene where he meets up with his buddy in the X-wing hangar.
Yeah.
That captain or whatever walks by, is like giving him shit, like, yo, you kid, you think you can handle one of these, yada yada. The next thing you know, what did something was said, and all of a sudden the guy's like, oh, well, good on you, get in there and handle it. And I was like, he did a total 180 and like changed his attitude.
It's just like, it's every job in life, Joe. It's one guy who knows a guy, gives you a recommendation. They're like, sure, hop on in, because he was like, this guy's the best pilot in the Outer Rim. And then they're like, whoa, why didn't you say so? Put him in an X-wing. It's like, this is a pretty crucial mission. And then they're like sitting there talking about it beforehand. And they're like, oh, it's like 2 meters or whatever. And then Luke's like, that's not such a big deal. I can bullseye Womp Rats back home. And you're like, dude, all right. Okay, I get that. I understand. I don't know what a Womp Rat is, but this is a little bit different. Like, the Womp Rat doesn't have, like, 50 of his best buddies, like, shooting at you the whole time. And you're like, I'm going to get him. Like, I thought that was so funny, because just Luke's just like, we can freaking do this. It's totally fine. And everybody else is like, I think we're all going to die. Like, I do like that there's a ticking clock for this one, though, because, like, they find out where Yavin is. And they kind of, like, Leia's the smartest one to be like, yeah, they're tracking us. That's why they only sent, like, 4 freaking TIE fighters to get us the first time. But they're like, all right, if we don't blow this up, they're going to find our base, and they're going to just blow up our base. And I thought that was kind of cool. Like, I enjoyed that. We never see the Death Star move at light speed, because that might be a little jarring.
How does the Death Star actually get to these places?
It has a hyperdrive.
It's a ship,
yeah, I guess, which is crazy to me, because that's...
Does anybody want to tell me how you build such a thing? It's a ship
long
the
time.
size of a planet?
It took 18 years.
Is that all?
Yeah. They've got all those sweet resources and indentured servants. I don't know.
And it's been in production since the prequels, so...
I try to throw that one to the wind. Like, okay, it's the Death Star, whatever. I'm not going to think about how they build such a thing, you know?
I love that. It's like, that is no moon or whatever. And you're like, oh, geez, yeah.
That's what I think what makes Rogue One so interesting, is like learning that there was a plan for the Death Star and like all these things. People were forced to build it. And
yeah. I like that the Emperor's goal, like, nowadays is to have the Death Star, and he like, his grand weapon, and it's great, but it's like, what if I made the biggest lightsaber, like, ever? And I just would turn it on and then turn it off, and that's all it would do. Like, I'd just be like, bah, you're dead. Like, I think that's such an interesting idea. It's like this huge freaking like space station, but it just has that one satellite dish, and it's just like, if it's turned improperly, the Death Star would seem like it's pretty weak to attack, you know, in some respects. But I still love it. I loved it. The big old fat Death Star. I think it's great. Yeah.
And isn't there a planet where there's wreckage of it on the surface?
That is coming up in the next movie, I believe. I should say, for anyone who's watching this in the future, we're talking about Rise of Skywalker.
I thought we saw that at one point where... Wasn't there one of the recent movies that showed wreckage of it on a planet?
No, I don't believe so. I'm sorry.
No?
Might have been in the trailer that you saw for Rise of Skywalker.
Perhaps.
Yeah, that's probably where
But
it's
did
going.
anybody else notice that the thing basically vaporizes in space? There's nothing left.
For that one, there are maybe more than one Death Star in the future. Death Stars. Just like, how could they have manufactured these things? You have a whole galaxy at your fingertips, Joe. Think about the construction you could do. Think of all those project managers. You have like 5,000, and you're like, I just got off the phone with 2,000 of them, and they're not talking to each other. Like, you're like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
You just gave me a migraine.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The labor disputes, and that's why I think Palpatine, when he's like, I want to get this thing built so that way the next time there's like a union, he's like, I'm just gonna blow it up. Like, he's like, oh, you don't want to work that late? That's too bad, because I just blew up your super. Yeah, that's all I'm trying to say. Anyway, okay, we've kind of walked through it. Is there anything else, Joe, you like, likes, favorites, not likes, dislikes?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Levi.
Yeah, this is the fourth movie. Where are some of the characters during this time from like the prequels? When does Yoda die?
Well, how many spoilers do you want?
No, don't give it to him. He's got to keep watching, and then he'll know. You're gonna get all those answers and more, buddy. All those answers and more.
Okay.
Levi.
You know what? You are coming. If you do watch Empire Strikes Back, you are coming up to a pretty solid movie. I will say that.
Empire's great. Yeah, Levi, for you going back, was there anything that stood out to you as good or bad?
No, I just don't care for this trilogy as a whole. I love the big action. I love this, like, the lightsaber battles. Like, that's what really hooks me on Star Wars.
Okay, so that's why this one doesn't hold up for you as much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this one's kind of a self-contained, like, pretty straightforward hero's journey, which is kind of nice for people, but...
Well, it's just kind of bothered me that, like, even... I mean, not to go too far ahead, but even with the Star Wars movies we're getting now, like, there's just not enough lightsaber action.
Sure.
Or even when you do get it, the choreography is still not as good as it was in the prequels. Like,
Yeah. Well,
the prequels had such great choreography, you know?
yeah. This movie's pretty rudimentary. Like, I can see why it was probably a big hit back in the day, and it was like the first thing of its kind and all. But
you almost have to remember, like, when you're watching, you're like, oh yeah, I gotta remember this was big back then. This was big back then.
Yeah.
And you're just like, you know,
yeah,
you
it's
gotta almost force yourself to care.
Seen anything like this besides like the movie Alien, which that came out in 70.
9?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's a hair later than that. All right.
Yeah, about 2 years later, which is fine. Speaking of that, I was trying to think, you know, when they're showing the Sand People, the Tusken Raiders, and they show the Banthas, I'm pretty sure those are just elephants that they put, like, different furs on, because I saw them moving, like, the feet, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's just an elephant. Like,
Yeah, I think it was a person in each leg. I think they're giant puppets.
Do you really think so?
I really think so.
Oh, really? Okay. I have to double check it, because I know they shot that portion in Africa, so that's why I was thinking. I was like, that would make sense that they were just like, just get a couple elephants in here and put some fur on them.
I think
like,
they just needed a crazy desert, but I honestly think, think about it, for controllability and multiple takes and all that. Just stuff a couple people in each leg, and it's on posts, and they just dance it around like a dragon on a Chinese parade.
Maybe. I don't know. I have to look back at it, because I feel like I saw the elephant's eyes, like you saw Vader's eyes, and I was looking at the feet. I was looking at the feet, and it looked like it was just an Anyway, I'll look into it.
I'll look back. I don't remember it that well.
Yeah.
I just remember the way it moved. I thought about a Chinese dragon parade.
Oh, sure. You know, it's funny, it's because I was watching this documentary about it, when that Tusken Raider starts fighting Luke, and it puts the rifle or whatever, its weapon, over its head and does that kind of up and down, up and down. It's an edit, and you can see it in there if you're looking at it, because the guy said, well, you know, the Tusken Raider puts his arms up and does that motion like once, and he's like, but I wanted him to do it like 2 or 3 times. So he's like, I just took the image or the little video, that clip, and he's like, I just overlapped it, you know, and reversed it a time or two. So if you watch it, you can see like some of the cloth on its like sleeve go up and then go back down in an unnatural way, like it's getting reversed. So it's like forward, reverse, like, so it's like, oh, that's a fun little like trick that they threw in there that kind of gave a little more character to something that didn't really have a lot of character to begin with. I was like, oh, that's cool. I like that. I'm like, good on you, editors. You did it.
Another thing that you never see what's under the outfit.
Yes, exactly. So it's another one of those like aliens that you're not really sure. I love the mystery with the aliens, because like you said, you go to the cantina and you see like these guys who, there's like some dude who looks like a devil, and you're like, okay, I get, but like I'd rather not know about all of them. You know, you look at me like,
Sure.
okay, yeah, yeah.
You know, it gives me a new respect for how we do cinema nowadays and the
Yeah.
quality. It's pretty amazing. And I also think about with these new movies, I like Kylo Ren.
What do you like about him?
Yeah, I actually like what's his name again?
Adam Driver.
Thank you.
Boom.
I actually like him. I know people talk about him, he's whiny, crazy, whatever. I don't know. I think he's a cool character.
I got a poster of him up on my wall, so yeah, I agree. I like Kylo.
Yeah.
I just want to see his face.
Yeah, I mean, even that, it's fine. It brings a human feature to him eventually, which helps his character.
Sure. He just should have showed it off for the first time to his dad. That's all I'm trying to say. It would have made so much more of an impact.
Yeah, I don't know why he does it when he's in there with
Rey.
Rey.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. Well, I want to we kind of wrap it up here, guys, but I just kind of wanted to know if there are any other closing thoughts, things you like really want to mention about this film right now.
I can't wait to go back to the prequels.
Okay, yes, that's what I'm talking about. Oh my gosh.
I actually like Hayden Christensen, so.
Yes, Joe.
Listen, I'm telling you, Ewan McGregor is going to be one of your new favorite actors, and then, yeah.
I promise nothing, and I hate to keep the boys to a timetable, but I would really.
Who does Ewan McGregor play?
Obi-Wan.
He does. Okay, and who does the guy?
Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson. Who does he play?
He plays Qui-Gon Jinn.
Okay.
Obi-Wan's master.
Obi-Wan's master, yeah.
Okay.
Yoda's apprentice. Yeah.
I really just want, and I don't know if we can do it. Well, it depends on you guys if you want to do this, but I really want to like have you, Joe, now go and Levi to go through like Empire, Return of the Jedi, because those are pretty quick, and I think they are. I don't want to say they're stronger movies. I feel like Empire is so good, Joe, and you're gonna love it because there's much more of a personal feel. It's more about the characters as opposed to the kind of just like, oh, we just got to go here, do this, got to go here, do this.
Yeah.
So I think it's the reason some people really love Empire. But then to go back to the prequels is something I haven't done in a long time, and I absolutely adore Revenge of the Sith. So any reason to get back to that one, baby. I don't care how long the route is, but this is so much fun. Levi, do you have Discord pulled up? Because I know that Missile sent us a question about Star Wars, so I wanted to kind of just levy this one quick in community feedback and questions, just because we're wrap up the show here. We've been talking about this for 47 minutes. You guys, this has been Joe. This has just been so excellent to hear your insight. It's wonderful.
Okay, so Missile Mage says one of my favorite things about A New Hope is the ending is primarily about Luke learning to trust in the Force. Sure, you have the attack on the Death Star, but there is no third act lightsaber battle in sight. It is rather a personal character moment, or two if you include Han. That saves the day. I don't think you could do that in any Star Wars movie going forward. Rey kind of has the same moment in The Force Awakens, but you still end up in a lightsaber fight. My question is, what is something that is unique to A New Hope that you personally love?
Levi, you first.
I personally love.
Unique to New Hope.
Yeah, which I know is going to be kind of hard, but.
I don't know. That's got me stumped. Damn you, Missile Mage. I don't know.
Joe, you have anything?
I don't know because I haven't seen all the other ones. So.
No, that's okay. You could just say what is it about this one that you enjoy?
Yeah, what's something that stood out to you?
I'm happy to go first if you guys don't want.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay. I was thinking about it, and it came to me right now. I know a lot of people say that he kind of hated Star Wars afterwards, but Alec Guinness, from what I've heard from behind the scenes, he was very professional on set, but he is one of the few people in this movie that I feel like fully buys into the lore and everything. And maybe that's not true, but when he's talking about stuff, there's a reverence to it. There's this kind of calm, Alec Guinness, the guy who plays Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Okay.
Who I feel like he just is so in that character in that moment, and I really enjoy that, and I think he does a good job there. Obviously he's in future episodes, but I like seeing him where he is now. And also I really love that not the dog fighting. I still love something about those spinning shooting guns and the guys talking back and forth where he's like, I got one on, and Han's like, that's great, kid, don't get cocky. Like I don't know, that whole sequence is just, it's adrenaline pumping.
He hates Star Wars?
He disliked it afterwards because I think he was a true thespian and he didn't want to get remembered for just that. I could be completely wrong.
Got it. Okay.
I'm not sure. So,
man, I don't know. I'd say Darth Vader.
Yeah.
I'd say he probably is the best part about the movie.
Is it unique to this one though? Is it him just choking people out?
Yeah, I'd say that's unique to this one because until this one came out, you didn't really see that out of him,
Sure.
that dark side in him, and
I guess, yeah. He was choking out people. He loves choking out
Yeah.
people. I think he does that in other ones though too.
Yeah, but if you watch the prequels first and then this, you'd be like, whoa,
Sure.
just choking people left and right. Okay.
That's what he does. Anyway, Joe, how about you? Anything unique to it that you love or you enjoyed that you haven't already said?
Did I even come up with anything real positive that was like a high point for me?
You said you were working to it, but I don't know if we ever got to that point. So
Because I was lying. I don't know that I have anything real great.
It's an okay film.
sure. But
It didn't, in my opinion, it didn't age well. So
it's a landmark that has been copied and has been looked at for a long time. So
Yeah.
I don't think I have to ever go back and watch it again.
sure. Well, I appreciate that you did, and I'm glad that it exists because without it, we wouldn't have the entire Star Wars universe that we have today, and how crazy it is to think about that.
You can respect it for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I like kind of the, you go into the YouTube rabbit holes, and the things that get me are like the whole Sith lore and
Yep.
a little bit of the Jedi stuff, but like some of how, certain Jedi were turned to the dark side. It's almost kind of more Lord of the Rings-esque.
Yeah.
Joe,
Like,
just
I love
wait.
the idea of all these Sith out there that like span thousands of years, and they sought to seek immense power, and like some were like more ghostly than even a person. Some sucked light force out of people, and some like had lightsabers that were so powerful they had to be locked away and hidden from anyone who ever knew about their existence. And like, oh my god, you imagine the freaking like portals you could open for the Star Wars franchise? Oh,
Yep.
but it's
I mean,
all
you'd have
it's
to
all
really
canon,
not.
right? Like it's all made up
Yeah.
by people.
So, okay. For a while, it was what was called the Extended Universe, but then that got all changed into something called Star Wars Legends continuity. Basically, when Disney purchased it, they said, all right, the episodes and like those movie episodes and Star Wars Clone Wars, those are kind of the only things that are canon, because there was so much in that Extended Universe stuff that was so like outside of kind of what they were, I think, willing to do, and also it maybe killed off or brought back people or things, and they were just like, well, we can't really, like, we don't have a good handle on that, so we don't want to call that canon because we want to build up our own canon. That doesn't mean, though, that they won't just pull from that as something, as an inspiration going forward. So we could see any of these things come back up, for sure, yeah. But if you
It's
just
like-
watched...
Darth Maul still exists, right? Like he didn't
Yes.
die per se. That's in Clone Wars. He really is alive, but he had
If you
like,
want...
mechanical legs created.
Yes, I will. If you want, it's not really a big spoiler, but he does die before A New Hope.
Yeah.
But
So-
he is there for Solo.
He is there for Solo, yeah. But yeah, because he does get mechanical legs. He's in Clone Wars, and then he shows back up in Star Wars Rebels.
Oh God, I forgot Solo, a Star Wars story.
Yes, that's in there too. But so he shows up back in Rebels or whatever, and then he has a fateful duel with Obi-Wan Kenobi, old like Ben Kenobi. It's a really quick fight, but it's very poignant.
Darth Maul has a big fan base.
Yeah.
Big fan base.
Oh, for sure. But that's the thing is, like, when you watch this movie, doesn't it make you want to know more? Like, if I just saw
Yeah.
Darth Vader, I'd be like, I want to know more about that guy. Like,
Yeah.
I'd be like, please.
Well, and Joe, if you can like turn your eyes off to horrible graphics, like you can go back and play like Jedi Outcast and Jedi. There's some really good Star Wars games out there that you can play that can kind of give you like a more insight into some characters and some Jedi ways, and so.
Yeah. Where does Solo fall in the timeline?
Excellent question. It falls between episode 3 and 4.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the same as
before Rogue One.
Yes.
just before Rogue One.
Probably a ways before Rogue One. I forget exactly, but Han, obviously, in that one, and Lando are a bit younger. So if you look at Han, like, he looks... It's hard to tell because they're different actors, but...
Yeah, dude, that must feel pretty jarring. Like that's not Harrison Ford.
Yeah, that was a consideration for them, but they're like, we're doing it anyway. So
It was a rough
That
go.
movie
Yeah.
bomb.
it did not do great, if I remember correctly. I don't remember if it bombed per se. It kind of came. A lot of people blame The Last Jedi for it performing poorly, or some people blame it as like Star Wars fatigue because Last Jedi came out in like December, Solo came out in May. But I don't know if that really holds up either, because there's some Star Wars people who you would show them like a new Star Wars movie every day, and they'd be like, yeah, another one tomorrow, you know. So I don't know. It was just kind of a not. I just guess it wasn't so compelling. You know, I think Rogue One is compelling in a different way, because you like want to see like more about the Death Star, more about Vader. But like Solo is kind of like a story. Maybe I don't know. I guess I just never needed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's like Leia. I don't need to know her backstory. I don't need to be like, oh, she was a princess and she became part of the Senate. Like I don't care. Like I'm sorry. I'm just like.
And Daenerys is not great in it.
Yeah, she's fine. I don't know. It's not. Yeah. It was a weird movie. But yeah. So let's give it a rating, boys. I gotta hear where are we sitting today?
Out of what?
Out of 10.
4 out of 10.
4 out of 10. Oh, a 4 out of 10? Oh, wow. Okay. Joe, how about you?
It's hard.
New hope, more like a new flop. Sorry.
It's hard because I gotta like take into account like when it was done.
Yeah.
Like if I can kind of segregate New Age stuff from it.
Yeah.
It was fairly well done, but it's fairly like it's lackluster. Like it's
pretty slow early on.
When you watch Empire, you're gonna be like, "Holy shit!" Like this is this is night and day.
It's like none of the introductions are very impactful, and the relationships between them are pretty blah. No development whatsoever. I give it like a 4.
Okay, you're both at 4s. All right.
Yeah.
I guess for me, it's just kind of like, it feels nowadays so average, so it feels like a 7 to me, like looking at it through today's lens. And I get it, back in the day, it was like a 10 or a 12 or 13 out of 10, because it's like, you've never seen this before.
I'm doing the show.
But I really enjoy how it sets up the universe, and it is just, you know, as Obi-Wan says, it's your first step into a larger world. So yeah, maybe that first step isn't necessarily a stumble, but it definitely could be a little better, because there are parts where it is kind of slow, and I was watching it, and all I could think was, I bet Joe hates this right now. Like, they're like in the desert, and they're just kind of walking around, and I was like, he's gonna think this is so stupid. Like, this is droids walking around the desert. Because I don't think you get away with that as easily today as you did back then. But the special effects were, I think, the reason the movie really took hold of people in a different way. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's good. I do not think it's the best Star Wars movie, though. That's for darn sure. But I don't think it's the absolute worst.
Oh no! If I'm rewatching them, it's a pass for me. I always skip it.
Sure, fair enough. You just go right into Empire. All right. Any closing thoughts, gentlemen, before we wrap it up here today? Joe?
No. No.
Okay. Fair enough. Well,
thanks for remaking it with The Force Awakens.
Ah, we got him. Yeah, which I'm interested now that Joe's seen that. When he gets to Force Awakens, if he'll be like, oh yeah, it's a New Hope. Yeah, which is just a faster, more shiny New Hope. I shouldn't say that, because there's more to that movie. Some people love Force Awakens the most. I don't. Love whatever Star Wars movie you want to love, all right? That's what I say. Anyway, if you guys ever have a question or a topic that you want to shoot at us, like a movie like this, please do so. Just tweet the hashtag #CriticalPodcast to any of us. You can tweet at GoCritical, or you can tweet at me. I'm at JimmyGood013. If you'd like to tweet at Lever, they can tweet at...
You called me Lever. I was caught off guard.
There you go.
At Lever_627. That's Lever, just like Beaver, only with an L.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call. And if you want to tweet at Fletcher, you can tweet at...
I'm at Levi Fletcher.
There you go. Excellent. I don't know why I called you that either, Joe. I think in my mind, I heard you saying Lever_627, so my brain was like, just do it for him.
I get it.
I'm sorry.
Just got me off guard. I was like, huh?
I just love it. Again, thank you guys so much for doing this show with me all the time, and just the specific kind of one like this one we did here today. And thanks for everybody who tuned in. Let us know what you think about this, because I'm interested in doing more of these in the future. If the guys are up to it, just kind of focus on one thing and talk about it. But we want to know what you guys think. How does the movie hold up for you? Or is it something you saw as a kid that you're like, it'll always hold a special place in my heart because I watched it when I was 5? Like, you know, because some people are like that. And that's totally fine, because that's how I am with Lord of the Rings. You can't ruin that movie for me. You just can't. The whole thing. It's just one long movie. Anyway, thank you guys so much for stopping by. And until next time, just remember to adapt and overcome. There we go. Great job, everyone. Under an hour. Look at that.
Indubitably.
I'm proud of you guys.